Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the place where you get edified with yours truly, Dr. Eddie. How you doing? How you living? What's going on? Listen, I want to talk today about masculinity and identity. I think it's such a pertinent, powerful, profound, and even a poignant topic that we really need to circle back to and really think about. And I think one of the questions is, what is a man? Why do we define what a man is today? What is masculinity all about? Uh, what is manhood all about? And I think, especially as we are seeing a lot of uh, vitriolic language, we're seeing a lot of misogyny uh, in the in the community, whether online or offline. We're seeing, the whole aspect of I'm an alpha man. um, this red pill type of mentality that sometimes people are choking on, and in many cases even a lack of leadership, right? And not knowing our identity, uh, even as men, which really clouds our masculinity. And I think one thing, especially as I was growing up, I'm saying as I was growing up as if I'm just some old cat, but I've been on the planet a little minute, and I think one thing, that was a question that I always began to ask, um, because when my father was in my life, when he was present, he was also absent, present physically, but absent mentally, spiritually, socially, and emotionally. And when you think what that does to a boy, what that does to a boy becoming a man, Boys to Men had a song, and they had some lyrics that said, "No one to guide me, I'm all alone. I need shelter from the rain to ease the pain. I'm changing from boy to a man, changing from boys to men." And I think one of the things is, yeah, I did feel all alone. I felt all alone, especially when my parents divorced. I felt all alone as a precocious young kid uh, who grew up in Jamaica, born and raised in the city of Detroit, and grew up in Jamaica for part of my life. One of two children to my mother and father, but saw, the demise of their marriage end in divorce. And then at the age of 15, I'm having chest pains. I'm not really knowing what is going on. Granted, my favorite two classes in school were gym and lunch. Love to chase the girls in gym and then sit down and eat with them at lunch. But I was ignoring the pain that I was having internally. And a lot of times, us as boys or even men, we see pain as weakness leaving the body. We don't want to deal with it at all. The pain even that you can't even see. I'm not talking about somebody dropped a weight on their foot, they stubbed their toe. I'm talking about the pain that's internal, right? And we ignore it. We keep working through it. We keep pressing on. We just keep saying, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. When we're everything but that. Wearing a mask, the mask of masculinity, so to speak. And I'm taken to the hospital. The age of 15, I can't breathe by halftime, watching a football game over my friend's house, and his mother takes me to the hospital. My mother meets me there, and I'm feeling great coming out of surgery. And they see in surgery that there's a mass growing in my chest so fast they could literally see it growing with the naked eye around my heart, my trachea, my esophagus, my voice box. And I use my voice for a living, right? And that's where the tumor was growing. Felt great coming out of surgery. The doctor says, Eddie, you have what we call non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I'm like, Doc, my first language is Ebonics. I'm still trying to learn English. What do you mean? He says, you have cancer, not just cancer, but stage 4 cancer, right? So it's basically a seeming terminal illness, death sentence. And out of everybody who came to my hospital, it wasn't too many. Of course, my mom was there. Thank God for a praying mama. But out of the few people who did come, my father never showed up, right? And imagine how that makes a boy feel. It's still even tough to talk about. As many times I've mentioned it, as much times I've talked about it, it still does something every single time I say it. Right? Yeah, there's been healing that's taken place, but some things, even though you're healed from, you still remember it, right? And I began to just question my own self. What's my purpose? Why is this happening to me? Why now? Right? In that place of development, though, in that place of the process of fighting for my life, by the grace of God, and a praying mama, I decided not to give up. I'm grateful, even when, my father wasn't there, that there were other male mentors who encouraged me. I remember my grandfather, God rest his soul, told me, Eddie, you'll never have to tell anybody how good you are. If you're good at what you do, they'll tell you. Right? Strong, resilient men who came into my life, whether it's a principal, whether it's a pastor, whether it was another male mentor, whether it was a businessman who gave me an encouraging word, pat me on the back, whatever the case may be. Those individuals, I'm a mold of all of them, because they helped to sculpt me into being a positive man like I am today. But think about the other young brothers who don't have that opportunity or didn't get that exposure, right? Who don't understand that life teaches you in two ways, mistakes and mentors. It's best to learn from the mistakes of others than your own, whose masculinity is clouded because they don't know their identity, right? And when you're dealing with this whole aspect of you do this because I'm a man. Man is not so much about what he says, it's about who and what he does, about who he is, about what he does. It's not so much his words, it's his works. And I had to work through some bitterness that I had towards my father. I had to forgive him before he ever gave me an apology. I had to let go of the negative aspect and the stinking thinking towards people who I thought were praying for me, but were literally preying on me, sitting on the sideline expecting my demise. How do you become a man if you don't see one? How do you play a role if you weren't given a script? Right? How do you become a man if you don't see one, much less interact with them? These are the questions that I had to deal with and grapple with. And many of our young brothers are today. Even today, I was mentoring young guys who don't have a father, who I'm standing in proxy for, young brothers, but empowering them to understand that there's greatness that's on the inside of them, right? That they can rise. Respect, identity, success, education, fundamental building blocks. Because if not, you're just going to go through this world hurting other people, and hurting people hurt people. But heal people heal people. And one thing about masculinity is it's not in your muscles. It's not in your Mercedes. It's not in a phone book full of ladies. It's about defining who it is that you are. Discovering what is your why. Why were you created? Who were you created to become? What is your purpose? What is your passion? Where are you going in life? Who do you want joining you on the journey? What are you doing right now to set yourself up for the future? Right? I don't think these are the questions that we ask ourselves enough. And so we go through life vacillating. We go through life not having a backbone. We go through life not being a leader, as what they would call being beta, right? And the whole aspect is of the beta is you don't have the data on yourself, right? You got to get to know you, right? You know your waist size, you know your shirt size, you know your arm size, you know your shoe size, but what's the size of your heart? What's the size of your character? Right? It's not so much what you can do to perform on a court, on a basketball court or football gridiron. How do you perform every single day? There is no respectability without responsibility. True masculinity is us moving into a place of responsibility, whether it may be as a father, whether you may be a mentor, whether you may be a brother, whether you may be a husband, right? Who can find a faithful man? Proverbs chapter 20, verse 6. Before you're ever faithful to her, before you're ever faithful to your wife, Can you first be faithful in your relationship to God? Can you be faithful in your commitment? Can you be faithful in your character? Can you be faithful in your career and in your calling? That's the true definition of manhood and masculinity. It's not about how much money you're making. It's not how you keeping the block on lock and keeping it hot. Right? It's not about you being G'd up from the feet up. It's about you defining and even redefining who it is that you are. What's your ROI? Not just return on investment, but you being able to reclaim our image. That's what it boils down to, right? Masculinity and identity. And I'll say this as well. Oftentimes, vulnerability and masculinity cannot coexist in the same space because vulnerability is oftentimes seen as femininity. But a man actually being able to be vulnerable, being able to speak, being able to share his heart, sometimes even being able to wear his heart on his sleeves. Even getting to the place of being emotional and crying. All right? It's not that you're a crybaby. Okay, you shed a few tears, you wipe those tears. It's not so much about you crying, it's what you do after you cry. It's what you do after you get knocked down. Knocked down 9 times, stand up 10. Begin again. That's the true aspect of vulnerability. That's the true aspect of masculinity. Stand strong. Keep pushing on. We're not just Superman or Clark Kent. We're not just Black Panther. Real us is T'Challa. We have to press through, overcome those obstacles. As Paul said, when I was a child, I spake as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. They're not just going to go away. We got to put them away if we're going to see a brighter day. Listen, I want you to make sure that you like, comment, subscribe for sure. Hit that subscribe button. Share this message with somebody. And listen, join my online academy. Join my online community. It's more than an academy. It's even more than a community. It's a family where we focus on faith, identity, relationships, speaker training, financial empowerment, and much, much more. We do that in our master classes. We do that in our sessions. We do that in our Q&A discussions. We have our own exclusive group. That's a private group that you can get access to simply by going to DrEddieAcademy.com. DrEddieAcademy.com. And you can register right now for just $1. Come on. Come on in. I want to see you there. I want to see your face in our digital space. Step into our digital doors right now. All right? Much love, peace, and much love. Let's stay empowered. Let's stay encouraged. And for sure, let's stay edified. I'll see you soon.